Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Jamaican Geologist YouTube channel. This is episode 16 of the Geology Foundation series. This episode and the next ones will be around basic topics in paleontology. Today's episode is all about fossils. What is a fossil? What are the different types of fossils? What can they tell us, and how is all of this even relevant today? Stay tuned as we answer this and so much more. So, the word fossil comes from the Latin fossilis, meaning dug up. Originally in the 16th to 17th centuries, fossil referred broadly to anything dug out of the earth, including minerals and gemstones. It wasn't until the 18th century that its meaning narrowed to the preserved remains or traces of ancient organisms in rock. In a very general sense, the word fossil has been used to describe anything very old. You might have heard someone say something like, "Man, that building, person, or thing is ancient. They're like a fossil." You are more than likely to have heard of fossil fuels. If you are really into watches, you are probably familiar with this popular brand of watches called Fossil. But what do we mean by fossils from a scientific or paleontological standpoint? Well, put simply, a fossil is any preserved remain or trace of a once living organism petrified in a rock. A lot of people, when they think of fossils, immediately think of dinosaurs or some other type of big animal, what we call megafauna. And although there are dinosaur fossils, pretty much any organism under the right conditions can become a fossil. There are even microfossils, which can only be seen with microscopes. So, as with a lot of things we have discussed in the series, there is a lot more to it than we see on the surface, or more to it than meets the eye. So, body fossils are the preserved physical remains of an organism, including bones, teeth, shells, or even entire plants or insects encased in amber. Fossil formation is a long and delicate process that begins with the death and burial of an organism. When an organism or a plant or animal dies, it must be quickly covered by layers of sediment such as mud, sand, or even volcanic ash. This protective covering shields the remains from scavengers, weathering, and other forms of environmental damage. Once buried, the soft tissue of the organism, including skin and muscle, usually decompose, leaving behind only harder parts like bones, teeth, and shells. Over time, mineral-rich water seeps into the hard remains. This process, called permineralization, gradually replaces organic material with minerals that fill the natural pores of the structure, turning it into stone. As more layers of sediment build up on top, they compress and cement together, eventually forming solid sedimentary rock that locks the fossil in place. After millions of years, erosion and other geological forces may wear away the surrounding rock layers, exposing the fossil at the surface where it can be discovered. Fossils do not always form in this way. Several other processes can preserve evidence of past life. In the case of molds and casts, the original organism dissolves, leaving a hollow space or mold in the surrounding rock. If minerals later fill this space, they create a cast, an exact replica of the original structure. Another method of fossilization is carbonization, in which the organism is flattened between layers of sediment. This process leaves behind a thin film of carbon that preserves fine details of the plant or insect. In rare cases, entire organisms can be preserved, sometimes even with soft tissues intact. This can occur when remains are frozen in ice, dried out, or trapped in substances such as amber or even natural bitumen. When we think of fossils, most of us picture bones, shells, or the actual remains of an organism. But not all fossils work that way. Some don't preserve the body at all. They capture the activity of ancient life. These are called trace fossils or ichnofossils, and they give us a window into how creatures behaved millions of years ago. For example, animals that dug into soft sediments left behind burrows, which can tell us how they lived or where they sheltered. Creatures that walked on land or crawled across the seafloor sometimes left tracks or trails, and when those impressions got buried, they became part of the fossil record. And yes, even fossilized poop, called coprolites, counts as a trace fossil. As strange as it sounds, it can actually tell us a lot about an animal's diet. Now, the catch with trace fossils is that we can't always know for sure which animal left them behind unless we happen to find the creature itself preserved right alongside the trace. But here's why they're still so important. Unlike body fossils, which show us what organisms look like, trace fossils reveal what they were doing. They give us real evidence of behavior, habits, or even how ancient animals interacted with their environment. So, once in a while, paleontologists stumble upon fossil sites that are truly extraordinary. These are called lagerstätten. That's the plural form. The singular is Lagerstatt, which comes from German and simply means storage place. What makes a Lagerstatt so special is the exceptional preservation you find there. In some cases, it's not just bones and shells that are fossilized, but even delicate features like skin, soft tissue, and sometimes organs, things that almost never survive the fossil record. Because of this, Lagerstätten give us a much more complete picture of what ancient ecosystems were really like. They let us study the animals, plants, and environments of the past in incredible detail. Now, they are rare, which means they can sometimes give us a slightly skewed view of prehistoric life. We know a lot about the creatures from these sites compared to those that didn't get preserved so well. But even with that limitation, their importance is huge. One of the most famous examples is the Burgess Shale in Canada, a site that has revealed an incredible array of unusual creatures from the Cambrian period, and we will talk more about the Cambrian in our next episode. So why study fossils? Well, fossils provide clues about past environments. Fossils also tell us about extinction events, the big die-offs that reshaped life on the planet. They help us track climate changes through time, showing us how living things responded when the world warmed, cooled, or shifted dramatically. In that way, they're not just about the past, they also give us clues to understanding the challenges life faces today. Beyond environmental analysis and monitoring past climates, fossils help us in our quest for hydrocarbons. I have linked an article in the description which shows how microfossils help in oil and gas exploration. So, fossils are not just an academic pursuit, they have industrial applications too. So, there you have it. Fossils unearthed. We explored what fossils are, the types, and why they are important. Our look at the basics of paleontology continues in our next episode, where we will go back in geological time as we explore the geological time scale and events associated with different periods of Earth's natural history. Until then, it's bye for now. Please take care. And as always, thank you for watching.